Host Mike Wahle. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying this, hit that subscribe button, rate and review us on our YouTube channel, Process to Perform. You can check me out at Mike Wahle68 on Twitter and TikTok, Process to Perform on Instagram. Real quick show here today. I'm off to Germany to work with some German coaches in the German and European football leagues. Really excited about it. We're going to talk about mindset development, technical mastery, and ownership decisions, man, all day long. So going to be a fun trip. I wanted to hit three safeties because we're like the Packers need safeties. Safety is one of my favorite positions on defense. It's kind of like tight end. You just get to do everything. You can get the box and be a big hitter. You can range and play the passing game. It's one of those positions. I guess linebackers like this a little bit too, but it just depends what kind of body type you are. I was not a safety, so I probably envy them more. But there's a couple guys in this draft that look interesting to me. I'm always interested in the bigger bodies. Unfortunately, the teams that I play for are more interested in the rangy guys, particularly if we're going to keep, if we're talking about the Packers now, if we're keeping the same defense, we play in the too high shell and not really getting guys in box, maybe like some of us would love to see, a la Cam Chancellor, a la Adrian Wilson. There's a couple of guys that, at least from a physical standpoint, look like that. So we're going to take a look at the top three on some people's boards today. And let's just start out right now. Let's just go right into this. So first guy we have up is Brian Branch. Yeah, he is the, I think, consensus top pick right now. Now he really plays, I think, their star position. So he can play slot defender. He can play safety in that Alabama defense. He's all over the field. He's like 6'1", 195. Here's the thing I'll say first about good Alabama athletes. And I was around Micah Fitzpatrick when he was a rookie in Miami. Been around a bunch of these guys. They just carry themselves a little bit differently, and you can see it on the field, and it's not arrogance. It's ridiculous amounts of confidence. Now, we see Brian here at, again, well-built 6', 195 guy, and I'm just showing here transition, range, just general athleticism. The guy moves well. He flips well. He's very confident in everything he does. He's a very sure tackler. I think somebody came up with some statistic that he is I think he missed 7 tackles in his entire career, something like that, which is something, if you're a Packers fan in particular, something you'd love to see. I just need to preface this when we look at draft picks. All these guys are undoubtedly going to be better players than I was. When I look at, my job now is to help players become the best versions of themselves. And we want to obviously accentuate our strengths, but also part of the thing I get paid for is to point out people's weaknesses and where you can exploit them. So a lot of the stuff we point out, and it might come across as, oh, Mike's picking on this guy. No, I'm actually just showing you what your areas of opportunity are in order to become the player that you want to become. Okay. So when we look at like this, for example, not attacking that wide receiver, kind of, he's making sure that the guy doesn't get outside contained, but you really want to see him put his foot in the ground here, stop that receiver in his tracks because he's got long arm capability. And then now he can force this issue a little bit more, make it a really tough cut for this running back. We don't get necessarily what we want here. Like to see a little bit more aggressive into contact. Now, one thing you've got to love about Brian Branch, he can play at the line of scrimmage. He's not intimidated by offensive linemen. He's not intimidated by tight ends or running backs. He can play in the box. He can play on the line of scrimmage. You can send him on blitz. Super athlete, not intimidated by anybody. He comes in here, easy spin off of the offensive tackle. Again, this is University of Texas. This is early in the season. And as you guys know, I just go through, I pick games. If I think the opponent is a worthwhile opponent to watch, I'll pick the game. We just start going through, 6, 7, 8 plays at a time, bounce around. Because for me, the scheme doesn't matter. The opponent doesn't matter if you know what to look at. If you're looking at the way they move, you look at the way they attack people, if you look at their general demeanor and body positioning. So we always look at footwork, body positioning, first and foremost, when we're looking at any position on the field, any confrontational position. And so how they react to a really good player versus an average player really doesn't matter in the sense that we're going to pick up the same kind of information. We just have to be able to understand, is that good enough to beat top players in the National Football League level? So we see here, comes across, again, spins out, great balance, great body position, good contact player, 6 foot, he can get under people's pads. You see, comes up here, not afraid to get extended, Not afraid to get into the mix coming off the edge versus a pulling guard. The pulling guard should be able to flatten there. It doesn't. Here's something that we saw, and this is I don't listen. Sometimes people get beat. Excuse me. And this takeaway on this particular play was it just looks like he doesn't transition fast enough. He doesn't really think this is going to happen, right? Like I'm pretty sure when you watch this guy move, he can flip his hips and run with the best of him. He's super explosive. This is one of those looks where you go, okay, does he need a little bit in terms of anticipation? Most likely. Improvement is anticipation given the speed at the NFL level is what I mean to say. Second guy, Antonio Johnson at Texas A&M. Now, bigger body. Okay, so these next two guys are 6'3", 6'4", and, for my money, that's what I want to see because I want to see you guys gets in there and bangs. Both these guys can fill out their frames a little bit more. The first thing that pops off the screen with Antonio Johnson is that I think he has a very good range because of his size. He's obviously got the length that you're looking for. Not thrilled with the way he goes into tackles. You see here, and you kind of look at him. I think one guy described him as a shutdown, slot screen guy, but you've got to be able to break down and make these plays. Body position is poor. Again, we're playing against Alabama here, so best of the best. I take it with a grain of salt. You see the range. You just see the way that he moves athletically, not intimidated by confrontation, which is something that you love. You see the range here from a passing standpoint. Great hips, great feet, able to blanket across the field. And it's just like, it doesn't matter. Again, guys, understand this is Alabama. This is high-level competition. The slot receiver here is a high-level slot receiver. May or not be the best in the country. What you're looking for is, how does this guy move? What kind of cushion does he give? What is he comfortable with? How can he flip his hips? Does he maintain the same body position? Is his hip height correct into confrontation? Is hip height correct when he's trying to flip and go? All of these things are what really matters when you look at these athletes, because he's going to go into a specific scheme with a specific set of coaches. They're going to teach him a bunch of stuff, right? But do you have a nose for the ball? Are you comfortable in transitions? Are you comfortable with confrontation? Right? Can you get in the right body position to be successful? The answer to yes on those things. We're good to go. Then we have to start talking about, obviously, what kind of person is he? What kind of learner is he? Is he the kind of person we want in our locker room, et cetera, et cetera? None of these answers I know, and nobody really knows until digging into it a little bit more. Great transition here. Able to keep up, no problem. Good job getting the referee out of the way here. Now this is something, again, and this is a tracking issue. And with all these guys, whether it was Brian Branch getting beat deep, whether it was this guy or the next, whether it was Antonio Johnson or the next safety getting beat on a tackle by a running back, it's just a question of, are you tracking the right way? Are you giving this the respect it deserves? Right here, you can always see his head. His head's on the wrong hip. He should be coming inside out, near hip, near shoulder. Contact. Body position's going the wrong way. Now he has to jump out of position instead of paddling down and getting into a great body position to make contact. He jumps to reset his feet, misses the tackle. And so these are the takeaways where if you want a guy who can come down and really lay the thunder, right, lay the hammer, you have to have a guy who's technically sound in the tackling game, isn't going to cross over, is going to track the near hip, is going to force himself through contact and run his feet. Very, very simple. Be the best at the basics. We don't have those kind of plays. Last guy, JL Skinner, huge body, 6'4", 220, 225 pounds. When you look at him, he could put on some weight. You look at number 0 here, tracking the Air Force quarterback. You see the fluid motion in a straight line. People are questioning his range. I don't think he has a range issue on the back end. We'll see a couple plays here. What I do take kind of pause with is his inability to break down on tackling. I know this sounds like something. Oh, we'll teach it out of him. Well, you look at the Green Bay Packers last year. Are they teaching it out of these guys? Are they teaching these guys how to tackle properly? The scheme, the playbook's expanding, and the time of practice is decreasing. So there's only, what's the other thing that gives way? What loses out? Well, it's technique and development. on the individual level. So tackling has gone by the wayside a little bit, and we just look at it from a technical standpoint. He's not square to this running back. He's obviously tracking outside the wrong hip. He's going to get cut back on here. Even if you're going to say, well, Mike, there's a guy inside, he's just trying to force a cutback. Okay, square your body up. Make sure your chest is pointing in the right direction. Be in a position to be successful. Details matter. Be the best at the basics. Same thing here. We're not putting ourselves in a position to be successful just from a repetition standpoint. When I see this film, I go, okay, we have to impress on this player if we bring him in, and he's a talent, right? Top 3 guy potentially in the draft from the safety position. He's a guy that can play in the box. He can play at the line of scrimmage, right? He needs to be a little more physical given his size, but he can come and fill the lane if he needs to. He's got good range on the back end. You have to impress on him how important it is to make tackles on NFL running backs. You have to impress on him how important it is to be able to stack and shit against NFL offensive linemen or tight ends. Like, this is something that the learning curve might be steep for him. This is another thing. We talk about this as a play that happens all the time in the National Football League. We have the read option. With the jet motion here, we're going to get the crack up top. You have to attack the crack block. You have to attack the crack block. Have to be physical here. Can't get out leveraged under any circumstances. Little things. And again, like I said, guys, I'm not looking for problems. All I do is just turn on film and tell you what I see. Okay? I didn't pick out this tape. Although I had to switch tapes, to be fair, after a little bit. This blue field really does number on me. We just see here from a range standpoint, I see no issues. Smooth runner, big body. You know, he's not going to be a 4-2 guy, but he's going to be a guy that can, if he's in the right defense, I don't know if like the Packers are the right defense for this guy, but in the right defense where he gets to come down, be near the line of scrimmage. All 3 of these guys, you get down, the closer they are to the line of scrimmage, the more effective they're going to be. Is that the kind of player that you want? Can you use that kind of player in the defense that you're running? In some situations, you're going to have to play from a 2-shell look, and you're going to have to come down and make a lot of alley tackles. Is that, you just see some of the issues with tracking them. The second 2 guys in particular, the first guy, Brian Branch, is a very, very consistent tackler across the board. Antonio Johnson and JL Skinner, we just pointed out in a very small sample size that some tracking issues, some breakdown issues. So these guys, from an athletic standpoint, amazing, off the charts. Even I don't care what they test out at. We got a 6'3", a 6'4", a 6 foot, 195. What do we got? 6'3", 200 pounds, Antonio Johnson, and then we got 6'4", 200 and gosh, what was he at 220 pounds? JL Skinner. These guys are phenomenal athletes. And there's some other guys. The Florida State kid, Jamie. Jamie Robinson from Florida State. Again, he's kind of a bowling ball, 5'11", 203, strong guy, comes downhill. There's some guys out there that are going to make a difference in this league. I don't know where the safety projections are. I'm not a draft expert. I'm just telling you that these guys, there's some guys out here that are exciting. There's some guys that we just showed that whether they're first round picks, second day picks, going to take a little work to impress them. The importance of being, if you're going to be around the line of scrimmage, you have to be sudden with your movement. You have to be fluid. You have to learn how to tackle properly. Technique really, really matters at the next level, because athletically, they're all going to be your equals at least at the running back position, tight end position, etc. So a lot of work to be done with these guys, but exciting futures for all of them. We'll see how this combine takes out, what their numbers come up as, and we'll do another review with a couple other guys at the safety position again, because I love it. I think next time we're going to go back to offensive tackle, but I want to revisit a couple other of these guys as we get closer to the draft, because it really is an incredible position from a fun standpoint. NFL safety is a fantastic position to be able to play. So hope you enjoyed this quick one today. Again, follow me, Mike1268 on Twitter and TikTok, Process to Perform on Instagram. Subscribe, rate, review our show on our YouTube channel, /Process to Perform. Guys, have a great week, great rest of the week. I'm going to try to get some information to you on the On My Block show, and then another one of these when we're in Germany. Hopefully I got some training tape that we can share, and talk to you soon.